Welcome back to Nineworks TV. So it's the aftermath of the Nineworks Awards. We're here at the venue of the awards at Shorade Accident Repair with Mr. Tony Hatter, a Carrera GT, and Mr. Paul Pressland, who owns said Carrera GT. And in this video, we're going to have a look around V10 naturally aspirated Porsche super sports car. Right guys, where shall we start then with this V10 super sports car that everybody is loving right now? It's really good news. So,
especially in black.
It looks great in black.
Especially in black. I think you've got
I'm not going to disagree with you there, Tony.
The door handle's a great place to start.
Well, yeah, you can see where the door handle is, but we hid it underneath here. It's actually a 996 part. I think it's, or is it 997? I can't remember. But
yeah, 997.
We hid it. We said we can't have such an obvious Porsche part on the exterior of the body, so it's hidden
underneath there.
Yeah, and everybody knows where you can find it intuitively. Yeah. It's a bit like an Apple computer. You should intuitively be able to get into the car. Not a lot of people know about that.
No, not a lot of people know about that secret compartment. And I believe this is part of what the way this is done is part of your design queue. The slats here.
Yeah, I love louvres. I love louvres. It goes back to my hot rodding days.
I found out something yesterday from you, which I did not know, that the metal in there is magnesium.
That we call that the magnesium fish, or the silver fish. It's definitely magnesium. That was a hell of a thing to make, because I think every second one, I think when they punched it, that magnesium would break. So it was a very tricky part. I don't think magnesium was probably a good idea in retrospect, but yeah. And then every switch, every knob is a custom made for this car. And if you think about the economies of numbers,
yeah,
it wasn't very economical.
No, and talking of numbers, then there's 1,270,
yeah,
of which this is 929.
Okay.
And I don't know if they were made sequentially, stamped sequentially, or it was just sort of random numbers.
It was sequentially.
It was sequential.
I think one or two people did I would like number 980, for example.
Yeah.
I don't know who got that.
No,
that's the code. That's the code number for this car.
So obviously a big talking point and something that people pick up on is the gear knob and the wood that's used on that.
And the philosophy behind that was every man-machine interface should be a natural interface. So wood,
right,
leather.
How do you feel the car has aged, Tony? Obviously, you know, it was 2004, the Carrera GT, 2005?
The show car was 2000.
2000, Walter Rowell drove it down the Champs-Élysées, if I remember rightly.
In the pouring rain,
yeah,
at about 4 a.m,
yeah,
to a section of journalists. And that was the point. I think everybody realised that if we're going to build this car, it has to have a roof, which the show car didn't. It was basically a show car based around a Boxster chassis. And from that data set, I took it back to Weissach and started immediately to build this car.
But these are completely carbon fibre monocoque.
Complete carbon. The monocoque, the body, everything's carbon fibre.
If I remember rightly, that the show car, you had to extend the wheelbase on this.
This is, I think it's about 20 centimetres longer than the show car. Yeah. In wheelbase. The front and the rear overhangs are bigger because of the radiators. The idea was to have the radiators here, but there are now 3 big radiators in the front. This is I think is the oil cooler and air conditioning and the what do you call Verbrennungsluft in English? The air that you need for the
induction.
Induction.
Okay.
Yeah.
I learned some German today.
Verbrennungs. Okay. I've been in Germany so long.
So perhaps if we can now have a look at the engine,
yes,
lift the cover there.
Yes. So we didn't stop with the interior of the car. We did the engine bay. We even did the frame that holds the engine in place. I think it's something a bit like a 356, about 4 bolts, and you can pull the engine out and on the frame. It looks very clean. It is very clean. There are no cables and stuff laying around. That's because this is basically a U section. If you go like that, you can be, especially this side, Paul.
Yeah.
You can feel it's full of cables hidden from view. So that was the philosophy. We only wanted to show nice, great suspension stuff, exhaust stuff, if possible, the plenum chambers, That was
there is so much going on in here that it's just a work of art. I mean, you see all the way from the carbon fibre here to the intakes.
And that's the emergency triangles here. I think that's the first aid kit,
toolkit there.
With these little super fasteners.
The battery's a bit of a mystery, isn't it?
It's hidden somewhere down there, and yes.
Not an easy find.
No.
Rear spoiler deploys at 70 miles an hour, I believe.
I don't know. Yes, exactly. Don't know. You can also manually put it up and put it down if you want. That's the chimney, because they found that the heat from the catalytic converters was starting to burn the bodywork, so they had to have an outlet for the hot air in traffic.
Yeah. So even here, you find there's a slight discoloration happening just here. Yeah. And from bitter experience, do not go anywhere near those if you're leaning over.
No. And these things, if you look in there, the real exhaust pipes are in there. They're not attached. They're not attached to that bit, because the exhaust system spans 10 millimeters when it's hot. You can't see it, but so that's the tolerance you had to have. So these things are fixed to the, I can touch it now because it's cold, but these things are fixed to the rear bumper.
Yeah.
And the exhaust pipes themselves move within those holes.
And actually, talking of the exhaust, the stock exhaust is just one of the most glorious naturally aspirated engine sounds.
Isn't it fantastic?
It's just, it wails. It's just absolutely fantastic. So the roof that was then designed is a manual system, 2 panels.
Typical Porsche latch.
Yeah, very typical Porsche latch.
You know instinctively where it is if you're a Porsche guy. Yeah.
The shape of the front, it reminds me of a 997 in profile. This is an evolution, if you like, of everything we've been doing and are doing. Mm-hmm. You know, it's the 911, then the GT1s. It's all in here.
So actually, a few points with this. So the sculptures on the roof, the panels come off. I have to say, when the panels are on, you really do feel you're in a proper fixed head coupe.
Yeah.
There's no movement. There's no wind noise. You've got the mechanics of the engine and the exhaust.
But that's because you have zero tolerances. Mm-hmm. You've got a carbon fibre monocoque. Mm-hmm. This is carbon fibre, so it all fits together. It's just like an Airfix kit. That's it. So there's nothing to move, nothing to rattle. There's no bendy metal.
Oh wow!
Don't drop it. Yeah.
And then, Leo, if you pick up that you've got blue and red, so on each side you've got the differentiate between.
I don't know. You have to go and you have to go to your local truck stop to get the crowbar that fits on that.
Yeah. Something like that.
Yeah. But that's because people don't normally have one of these. An AA service would not have one of those with him, so that's why that's included here. Shall we jump in?
Jump in. Do you want to go into the cockpit?
That'd be a pleasure. That would be a pleasure.
Spoiler alert.
Show off. But I haven't driven one of these for so long. But I was in one last year as a passenger. Yeah.
This magnesium and everything.
I mean, this is magnesium. That's carbon fibre. That's carbon fibre.
Right.
That's carbon fibre.
So this is the magnesium.
Yeah. But bespoke. Some buyers, there's so much bespoke stuff on this car, and of course this is all carbon fibre covered in leather.
But it was just this picking up with this when you've got the tub surrounding you. You are encapsulated in carbon fibre.
Yeah. That was another thing that we couldn't fit the handbrake in. You can hardly.
Where you're touching on like how bespoke and like individual this car is, so does that, from a design point of view, is that a good thing because it gives you more freedom?
Oh, absolutely. And we're doing it relatively independently from what everybody else is doing in the studio and doing these bits. And we had a very small project team with a project leader, and if we said, well, we need some. Can't you use parts from a 996? And no, we can't. And somehow we got things like that through. Just for how many cars? 1,200.
1,270.
Yeah. The door handle, everything's bespoke.
Yeah, even the light switch there.
Yeah.
So yes, the instrument cluster is from the 986, 996.
It's a 911 wheel, isn't it?
It's a 911 wheel. Yeah.
Yeah. I love it. Elegantly get out.
So, I mean, really, we've touched on the exhaust note, but actually, you know, we've got a 610 horsepower, 5.7 litre V10.
Yes.
And originally earmarked for Formula One.
It was earmarked for the LMP car.
Yeah.
When after the GT1 program, we did an LMP, open car, and that was canned. And so you had an engine. Let's bolt it onto the back of a Boxster and see what happens.
And then you made the monocoque, the carbon fibre monocoque. But I think that it was that development which then got curtailed, partly because of legislation, partly because of economics.
Yes.
And you've actually got the success of Porsche going into the main market, the Cayenne, or Cayenne, however you pronounce it, then gave them the finances and the confidence to be able to go with a project like this. So that's an example.
But this was really an exercise in trying to economise on parts. I just said we did bespoke parts, which was a real fight to get stuff like that through, but it was a very cost-conscious project, and it nearly didn't make it.
Really?
There were stages where it nearly didn't make it, I know that, yes.
And who was fighting? I mean, obviously the design team were fighting for it, but it was a debate.
Well, everybody wanted it, but the sums weren't adding up. That's the problem.
Well, as an owner and any car enthusiast, and certainly Porsche enthusiast, thank you so much for delivering what is just one of the most amazing
Thank you
cars.
for that, and thank you for letting me sit in it and play with it.
It's a great pleasure. Perhaps we go for a drive.
It's been fun. Yes, that'd be great fun.
That was an insightful, if surreal moment when a current custodian of the Carrera GT had an impromptu natter with the designer of this remarkable car in front of the Nineworks TV cameras. As for this bit, well, I think the conversation is best left between Tony and Paul. Tony kindly flew in from Visac to be guest of honour at our Nineworks Awards the night before this video, while Paul was happy to drive a 400-mile round trip in typically British weather to have the CGT on display at the awards for the evening. Both made gallant efforts in honour of this channel and Nineworks, and from my point of view it was a privilege to step back and watch two friends indulge in a car that's clearly dear to both. If you'd like to learn more about the Nineworks Awards, by the way, head over to nineworks.co.uk now. That was the Carrera GT in granular detail, hopefully like you've never seen before. Thanks to Tony, thanks to Paul, thanks for watching. We'll see you again soon.